Religion. You can guess why.
Because the news, shootings, and people just being racist.
And 49 people were killed in Christchurch,
Yep.
New Zealand. And 48 other people were injured, bringing the casualty count to 97, which is New Zealand's worst mass shooting in history. The target of New Zealand's mass shooting was a mosque, which, for those who aren't familiar, is the place of worship for the Islam religion. The practicing people are called Muslims. It is basically the equivalent of a church or a temple to Christians and Jewish people. And it was a racially motivated attack, as the shooters, there were more than one, because it happened at 2 mosques simultaneously. They actually emailed the Prime Minister their 87-page white supremacy-fueled manifesto minutes before the shooting started. So Christine and I are both in AP Comparative Government, and we just finished our unit on Iran, and we studied the Islam religion a lot because church and state are not as separated there as they are here. And I think back to social media, in movies and just online in general, Muslim people are often painted as terrorists and just bad people in general and like violent, but that's just one extremist group or a few. Like, we hear about the Taliban and about ISIS and like extreme jihadi groups, and we automatically apply those to the rest of an entire population.
Yes.
There are 2 billion Muslim people on the planet.
I don't know the number.
Like, if they were all terrorists, we would all be dead. Like, it affects people's everyday lives. Like, every week there's a new video on social media of some white lady in a grocery store screaming like racial slurs at Muslim people.
For some reason, every state has to go through some horrible event for it to actually enact good gun laws.
And I know social media isn't the topic right now, but in recent history, it's actually done a lot in like violent political movements. If you look at the revolution in Turkey, it was a few years ago. There was a staged military coup, and the president of Turkey he was on a plane when it happened.
Yep.
And he landed at the airport and basically live streamed to YouTube. And he was like, basically addressing the entire Turkish population. He was like, "You elected me. I am your president. I was elected by the people. You have to stand up to the military and like, you know, save me," pretty much, because he was holed up in an airport. And they did. The people gathered together and overpowered the military and like defeated the coup. So just the role of social media in these like mass violent effects and just the huge influence it can have is just horribly exemplified.
Yeah, and also with like
this weekend's events.
Arab Spring.
Yeah.
Like that, those are like the big positive ones where like they were always like moving for change and like for like better living and life situations for people. But then there's also like the Pulse nightclub.
And now you see the first few Muslim congresswomen in the U.S. getting just trashed online. On Twitter, they're like, "Go back to your country, you're a terrorist." Like, they're infiltrating the Washington.
Here's the thing, and I do think she has said some questionable things. Like, I don't agree with everything she says, but like, if we're gonna uphold her to that type of standard, what about every single person before that? Like, Stephen King was just removed from all of his committees.
Stephen
King.
You know, our president, who has said some horrible things about women.
Like, if you're gonna keep that standard for her, I want that standard for everyone.
And this is what's happening in China right now, today, in the past few months. If you guys don't know, because there hasn't been news coverage on it.
Because communism.
Anywhere. Literally anywhere. There is an entire Muslim ethnic group being put in internment camps with forced labor, torture, and executions in China right now as an ethnic cleansing scheme by the government, who does not want any religion other than
the government.
President Xi is God in their eyes. And like, you cannot be anything other than pretty much traditional Chinese values.
And here's the thing, like, most people don't know about it. Like, in China,
when I
people
learned,
don't know. If you're not educated and you don't have the information to make a claim, don't make it.
Yeah, and
People
that can
now-
be applied to literally any political topic you want.
People now assume that because they have an opinion,
They have knowledge.
they're right, or they have knowledge,
Or they're educated on it. Mm-hmm. But, like, I could walk into 16 Handles and be like, frozen yogurt is made from dogs. And
my
if I
God.
say it with confidence...
Stop,
and
we're eating.
vigor, it's not made with dogs. And, like, I could get someone to believe me. Or I could at least start a conversation. And what Christine was saying with John Mulaney and how he didn't help his friend on the playground, and his dad basically told him, like, well, you know, the people who didn't stop the Nazis were as bad as the Nazis.
Yeah.
And that's...
Yeah. We were talking about the Uyghurs in China.
Yes.
And they are, the camps are in Xinjiang. Basically the northern mountainous area of China. And, like, it's very hard to, like...
live there.
Live there, get in there. Like, it's a lot. Also, I'm volunteering there in the summer. So if I get arrested and don't go to college in the fall, you'll know where to find me, kids. Thank you.
Please have the embassy on speed dial.